On behalf of Gavin Foundation Board of Directors, and especially our clients and their families, I'd like to welcome you to the Divine Recovery Center. The Gavin Foundation is a nonprofit agency providing community-based substance abuse education, prevention, and treatment programs. We serve over 5,000 individuals each year throughout our adult, youth, and community programs. Our continuum of care includes acute treatment services, detox, clinical stabilization, recovery homes, criminal justice programs, to recovery support services here at the center. We welcome Mayor Walsh, City of Boston Director of Recovery Services Jen Tracy, and her assistant Brendan Little, Alex Buffett Rosette from the Letters Foundation, and our political and community leaders. Gavin Foundation is grateful to the Mayor's Office of Recovery Services for coordinating this project, and the Letters Foundation for initiating P.A.I.R. The project will reduce obstacles that can lead to relapse, recidivism, and despair. The P.A.I.R. initiative will provide critical wraparound services such as housing assistance, educational employment support, and complement treatment and assist in taking our clients from darkness to dignity. It is my privilege to introduce Brendan Little, who has an enormous job coordinating treatment services across the city. Gavin is pleased to collaborate with him and Jen Tracy on the various projects that have a positive impact on the families touched by addiction. Brendan?
Hello, everyone. Thank you to John and his team here at the Gavin Foundation for hosting us today and for partnering with us on this initiative and for all you do every day. Thank you also to the Letters Foundation, without which this pilot wouldn't be possible, especially to Leah and her team that we've been working so closely with. Thank you also to Jen Tracy for letting me speak today on our office's behalf, and to my colleagues Parisa and Helen, who worked so hard in this initiative. My name is Brendan Little, and I'm the Policy Director for the Mayor's Office of Recovery Services. That's my fancy job title, which I'm proud of, not only because I work for Mayor Walsh, a leader who prioritizes recovery in a way that no other mayor has, which is exhibited by his creation of our office, the first of its kind in the U.S. I'm also proud of my job title for another reason. I feel a little self-conscious sharing this because this day is not about us, it's about the clients we will serve with this exciting new initiative. But I want to say a few words about myself because I was once someone who could have been helped by this initiative. And I hope that some of my experience will speak to why I'm so excited about why we're announcing this. I'm proud of my job because a decade ago, I walked into my first college class at UMass Boston, which is a couple miles away from this building. And prior to walking into that classroom, I had a difficult few years battling homelessness, addiction, losing family members, dropping out of high school, and struggling to get by financially. But with the help of 12-step fellowship and people who loved me and never gave up on me, I began to piece my life together and gain some recovery. Even though I was starting to build my recovery, I was still homeless, sleeping on friends' couches and moving in with my girlfriend, now my wife and co-parent. I worked low-wage jobs and struggled to get by, to get my GED and apply to UMass Boston. I am and was not unique. So many people in recovery struggle with these same issues. They have so much potential, but they struggled under the great pressure, which sometimes leads to relapse and recidivism. Not only because they're not smart, driven, or strong, but because they don't have the little boosts to get the stability they need. That's why we're here today. These grants and wraparound services are flexible enough to help people with their housing, education, and workforce goals. If an applicant needs 2 months of rent and $200 to fill out their application for college, we can help them. If an applicant needs a new pair of boots for their trade job, but also could use some support with their utility bill, we can help them. If an applicant needs a computer for school, we can help them. These are not handouts, they are investments in the future leaders of our city. When I got into UMass, I went back to my old middle school to touch base with the former classmate who was directing alumni services. He offered to purchase me a laptop for school as I began my journey, a gift I gratefully accepted. I was shocked by the kindness and asked what payment plan I could coordinate with him so I could pay him back. He told me, help someone else in need when you can, and you'll be paying us back. That's what I view the P.A.I.R. initiative that we're announcing today. We're not just giving money or services, we're reminding people they are worthy of someone believing in them, that they are worthy of reaching their highest goals. People in recovery know that giving back the gifts they receive is the only way to keep them. They already live this principle in their daily recovery. The people we help with this initiative are an investment. Their talent and potential are unlimited, and I have no doubt that they will go on to help countless others. Again, none of this would be possible without the generosity of the Letters Foundation, who have been incredible partners in planning this initiative. With that, I'd like to introduce Alex Buffett Rosic, the board chairman of the Letters Foundation. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you for having me today. Thank you to the Mayor's Office, to John. The real thanks goes to Leah Hong, who put this all together. I just want to start by saying that. She's done an amazing job for the Letters Foundation. Very briefly, the person that should be here for the Letters Foundation today is my grandmother, Doris Buffett. She has lived here in Boston now for 2 years. I've lived here for 10 with my wife, Mimi. She has been answering letters that people write to her brother, Warren, and to her for now maybe 20 years. And that's kind of become a foundation and spurned a lot of different programs and partnerships over time. So I will relay the message that she should have said herself if she were here, and I apologize for her that she can't be here. She'd love to be here. But the message is simple, that the money was made through thoughtful investments. And I was happy to hear the idea of investments in the community, because that's how she's always thought about her investments in people. It's never a hand up, it's never a handout, it's a hand up. And that's what she said for years, and that's what the Letters Foundation is really all about. And it only works because there's great partnerships. So she's always said her brother is wholesale philanthropy and she's retail. And she does that by finding great community partners. And those community partners really know how to make effective investments in the community, taking a large amount of money and making it really useful on an individual basis. So we're so pleased to be able to find community partners and in the mayor's office and also in the community to do things like this. And I hope that this is one of many more opportunities to come. And I'll also just say quickly, she has lived a number of different places, and I can say unequivocally, Boston responded to the call better than any other place she's ever lived, in her opinion. And she's really, really pleased to be a Bostonian. Hopefully she'll earn that term now. I don't know how many years it takes to officially do that. But she loves living here. She loves the history. She loves the people. And she loves the community, and is really pleased to be a part of it. So on her behalf, thank you very much for having us. I'm humbled to be here, and thank you for this program.
Thank you.
It is now my honor to introduce the mayor, our friend, the friend of substance abuse and recovery treatment services in the city of Boston for a long time. I've known the mayor for, 15, 20 years now through my work at Gavin Foundation, going back to when he was on the Hill helping us and carrying more than his fair share of work up there to help move the recovery process along. And as I was thinking about some things to say here today, one of the things I was thinking about was really how he has really embraced the recovery community in his job as the mayor. We go back to when he first got in office, and Blue Cross Blue Shield Foundation did the report. And if we go back and look at the report and look at the number of recommendations that they made and the number of things that he has made progress on, is incredible. And one of the very first things was to open the Office of Recovery Services, and he's done that, and they're doing it. And the idea was to have it be a connector, and today is a perfect example of how that has been accomplished. A lot of it was around prevention work, and how do we do that, get to people sooner. And we look at programs that they have in the Counseling and Intervention Center at Boston Public School to help young people who are involved in substances. We look at reentry, and we know that the city's very involved in the reentry programs with the House of Corrections. So the list goes on and on of all the things that he has done to try to increase people's recovery once they're in it, and access to recovery. So whether it's the 311 line, expanded hours, a pass, I could go on and on. I started to put together a list, but it was too long to sit here and read. But he's our friend. We're so grateful for his partnership and leadership on this issue. So without further ado, our friend Mayor Martin Walsh.
Thank you, John. And I want to thank John and the Gavin Foundation. I served on this board for about 17 years, and I watched this organization grow. and I watched this organization go into uncharted waters in a lot of ways, starting out as a halfway house in South Boston and really turned into a recovery community. So I want to thank John and the board. I know there's a lot of board members here. Thank you for your past and present. Thank you for your involvement here. Alex, I want to thank you and your family, your grandmother and your uncle and your family for being involved in just the generosity that your family has shown across America. But here today in Boston, it's going to go a long way. And I guarantee you that we're making a difference here in the city of Boston, saving lives. And I want to thank you for that. And then this program will save lives. It'll help continue saving lives, giving people the confidence they need when they get into early recovery in particular. So I want to thank you for that. Jen, thank you as well for the work you do, obviously every single day. And Brendan, thank you for sharing a little bit of your story here today, because it is important. I was thinking, as Brendan was talking, I was thinking about the campaign back in 2013 when Brendan was working on the campaign. We were working on the campaign. There was a lot of people in recovery in that campaign. They really didn't know what politics was, but they just worked it hard because that's what they did every single day. So thank you as well. Anissa Rasabi George and myself, Councilor George is here. Obviously, she's Boston City Councilor, but this program also, she knows, will save lives. And both of us are grateful for all of the support here. She supports us 100% in the City Hall. When it came to the 311 conversion, she was there. When it came to the PATH program, she was there. When it came to the shelter that we built, she was there. Any program on homelessness, which addiction is a big part of that, for the kids, particularly the kids in the Boston Public Schools, she is there and a leader. So I want to thank her as well. And we're both grateful for today. I'm glad the press is here because we get so caught up in Long Island Bridge about Long Island Bridge, and when we closed Long Island Bridge, it was an awful decision we had to make. Recovery happens a day at a time. Recovery happens a program at a time. Recovery happens with generous philanthropic support like we have today from the Letters Foundation. Recovery happens when you have a place like the Gavin Foundation that's a leader in the country, works on putting more programs together. Recovery happens when the Office of Recovery Services is working with our partners, both our public partners and our private partners. Here in Boston, we have some of the best comprehensive recovery services anywhere in the country. But we need to do more to connect people in recovery to the resources and services so they can help turn their life around. Today's announcement is big because the Surgeon General came out with a report called Facing Addiction in 2016. And, you know, we're talking about epidemic. In the last 5 years, we're saying we have an epidemic. We've had an epidemic for the last 20 years in America, but in Boston, with drugs and alcohol, particularly drugs and alcohol. What this program is going to do is going to help people with the housing, help people with education, help people with workforce development, and so much more. This program, the P.A.I.R program, can't work by itself. You don't fix addiction and cure addiction and battle addiction by yourself. It's a community. So when you think about somebody who gets into recovery, it's that community that keeps that person in recovery. When you think about how we're gonna deal with the issue of addiction on a larger scale, it's the community coming together, not pointing fingers at each other, but coming together to create programs and opportunities. The P.A.I.R initiative is a big step in us moving forward in our city and in our state. As Brendan mentioned about this program, helping folks with rent, education, job training, this isn't a freebie gift, by the way. This is something that you will have to work with and work towards, and in your recovery, people that are in recovery, to make sure that we continue to move forward. So this isn't a handout, as Brendan mentioned earlier. This is truly an opportunity to help people to get back on their feet. Not too far from this door, around the corner, if you're out there at 7 o'clock in the morning, any day of the week except for Sunday, you see a lot of people struggling, a lot of people trying to get back on their feet, going the bird, early bird. And oftentimes, they don't have access to a pair of work boots, losing self-confidence, or they just need that little bit more to be able to get on their feet. And again, I want to thank the Buffett family for this support today, because this is another piece in the puzzle of putting this complete puzzle together to make sure that we have the pieces that we need to move us forward when it comes to recovery. The Gavin Foundation is going to work directly with people in recovery to write letters about their experiences and create achievable goals and plans for their future, something that's important. The Letters Foundation will work directly with landlords, employers, and more on their behalf on these funds so that we can make sure that they fund these requests. These grants will have an enormous impact on individuals' lives and their ability to maintain their recovery. Oftentimes when somebody is in early recovery, they get stressed because they can't find a job, they don't have the opportunity, and oftentimes that sometimes leads to a relapse. This is another step in trying to prevent that relapse from happening. Another piece of the puzzle. The Gavin Foundation has set an incredible standard of offering a continuum of care for people in recovery. This building that you're in wasn't here 5 years ago. It was a rectory. It was an empty rectory 5 years ago. And the Gavin Foundation felt that it was important that we continue this continuum of service, making sure there's places for people to go. That's why we have a building here today. And that was the foundation. That was John leading us in the board making decisions. So we're going to continue to work and come up with creative solutions. I just want to end by thanking the Office of Recovery Services. They often don't get enough credit for the work they do on a daily basis, and they do some incredible work working along with our nonprofit partners. Of course, I want to thank Letters Foundation and the Buffett family for your generosity on behalf of myself and Councilor George. Warren, Doris, Alex, and everyone at the foundation have big hearts, and I just want to say this to your grandmom, and when I see her, I'll tell her. You make a lot of donations to a lot of organizations, and you help a lot of people, and I know your family does that. The people that you're helping here today, you're not helping individuals, you're helping families. And every single person that gets into recovery and that's able to maintain their recovery, you change the future of your family generation forever. You either end the cycle of alcohol and addiction or whatever it might be, but you end that. So I want to thank you for making a huge impact, because I know that your support here today, I know will work. So thank you very much.